Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. The Palestinian resistance continues to conduct massive attacks against the genocide soldiers in Gaza. Yesterday, Al-Quds Brigades posted details about their biggest ambush in Beit Hanun, and today, Al-Quds Brigades, the armed wing of the PIJ, they published videos of them targeting genocide soldiers inside of Jabalia and in Beit Lahia. The first attack that happened in Jabalia was an attack on an IDF hideout. Now, these hideouts, they usually contain at least a squad, 10 genocide soldiers. In many cases, they have even more than a squad. So you're talking about a platoon of 2 to 3 squads, over 30 genocide soldiers. And in some instances, the Palestinian resistance, they targeted multiple buildings with over 200 Israeli soldiers inside of Gaza. But this is one of the biggest attacks that's coming from the Al-Quds Brigades in Gaza. The second attack in Beit Lahia, it was against a tank, a Merkava tank with a tandem projectile from an RPG. And this was the video that they published earlier on. So, very serious attacks coming from Sarai Al-Quds, the armed wing of the PIJ. And the first attack happened alongside the second targeting, the one that happened in Jabalia. The Palestinian resistance, again, they used explosive devices that the Israeli genocide army left in Gaza. More talks are going on in the Israeli media about how much the Palestinian resistance is using the Israeli weapons inside of Gaza. Some reports said that 10% of all of the undetonated Israeli projectiles that land inside of Gaza are used now by the Palestinian resistance. So clearly nothing is stopping up until we have a ceasefire. The ceasefire talks are still developing. More reports, nothing new from what we've been mentioning for the past couple of days, apart from a couple of statements from officials saying that the delegation is still in Doha. Benjamin Netanyahu might have given the delegation more mandates to finish a deal, perhaps. Again, nothing is confirmed here, but so long as there's nothing published, there is no deal. This time, again, it could be different. The delegation from Israel is extending its stay in Doha, in Qatar. That's another indication that something is happening, and indeed, we might see something before the 20th of January. This is the first part that I wanted to talk to you about. And by the way, these attacks as well coming from Al-Quds Brigades, if you saw the first video when they detonated this building, right, this hideout of the Israeli genocide forces, this explosion this explosion, it most likely killed everyone inside. And like I said, usually with these hideouts, at least 10 genocide soldiers are inside. But because the Palestinian resistance at this instance, they did not monitor the whole number. They did not publish the numbers of Israeli casualties inside that building, but they did monitor movement and the fact that there was an amount of Israeli soldiers. But generally, at least 10, and in many cases 30 Israeli soldiers, if not even more, are present. And this attack was another massive blow for the genocide soldiers inside of Gaza. That's the first thing that I wanted to talk to you about. The second thing that I wanted to talk to you about is a man who's described as one of the leading figures in the Zionist lobby in the UK, arrested for pedophilia. Some reports saying he's the Zionist lobby head, but what we know for sure is that he is the leader of the Jewish labor movement. He was a previous MP, and he held a position in the UK Ministry of Defense, and he is an armed forces veteran. He was arrested after there was suspicion of engaging in sexual communication with a child and the man appears to be Ivor Kaplan, the head of the Jewish labor movement. Sussex police confirmed. The police isn't reporting too much about this, and in a sec I'll share some of the videos that were published, including text messages or social media messages, to be more accurate, in which appears to be on X, by the way. I'm not going to share the content of these messages because some of them are extremely explicit, the messages that he was sharing online with what appears to be children at school age, talking to him, deciding to meet with him as well. However, he got arrested after a network of anti-pedophile activists held him. Now, the man is very important when it comes to the Zionist lobby in the UK. The head of the Jewish labor movement, he constantly lobbies for Israel. There were some corruption accusations against him, especially for lobbying for the military industrial complex as well. He was supportive of the Iraq war, and he is a very staunch advocate and supporter of Israel in the United Kingdom. In 2024, he was suspended by the Labour Party due to serious allegations that were made about him, but they did not share more information. Now we clearly know what we're talking about here. And these were the videos that were circulating on social media of him being arrested.
You told this child that you was going to go meet him.
That wasn't, because Stephen will be at work at that point.
At 1 o'clock, you said that you was going to go and meet him at quarter to.
If we could. I don't know, trains, etc.
Yeah, you see.
I don't know.
But wait, but here's the slippery thing. You said you had no intention, but now you concede that actually, yeah, I might have been planning to take this child to meet Stephen. So you admit that that's what you were trying to do.
I don't know his age.
You know his age accurately. This child regularly.
If I knew his actual age,
this child.
Know that, then I wouldn't do anything.
This child regularly told you that they were at school and they were doing school-related activities.
Yeah, but that's not the same as knowing age. I have never. I want to ask him what his age is, and I've never done that.
Yes, you did.
No, I have never done that.
Of course.
No, I have never done that. So I want to ask that question.
You've asked that question. I've read it. Clear and simple terms.
Anyway.
You know exactly how old this child was.
And you wanted this child to bring other children, so that you could abuse more than one child.
No.
You used to be you used to be a veterans minister, didn't you?
Never happened.
Did you? Yeah. Yeah, we're all veterans, and do you know what? It makes me absolutely sick that you had anything to do with our armed forces.
I haven't done anything. Okay, I'm not going to do that. I am not going to do that.
To do what? You're not going to do what? Going to do what?
I was going to tell
What don't you understand? The reason you are not taking this child to have sex with them, no, stop it. The reason you are not meeting this child to have sex with them is because we've turned up.
No, I wasn't going to have sex.
Well, why have you told this child that was words?
Have you shown me an image?
I told you to get your bottle of water back.
And sweets.
Right, I'm just going to search you before we go anywhere. Okay? How many layers have you got underneath
The
there?
sweets in there as well.
Three.
Oh, that's more good. The sweets in the back as well.
There's nothing, there's no problem.
That was the video that was published, and clearly proof that the man was indeed communicating with a child who told him he was clearly at school age. And then there were other messages being revealed online, circulating online, print screens of his communication, clearly by some activists who pretended to be these children communicating with him sending very explicit messages from his account again. And now he's denying this. Now, what does this all say? Well, it's not surprising that we have someone being suspected of pedophilia who is also an Israeli supporter. That's not something new whatsoever. Israel is considered to be the safe haven of pedophiles, with many warnings previously coming from Israel and from other countries around the world about this. There were many reports posted in Israel. The one here in the Times of Israel back in 2020, many accused Jewish pedophiles in US flee to Israel. That's a report. And that wasn't the only report. There were other reports as well. One of them is in the Jerusalem Post. The Jerusalem Post posted this article, and that was back in 2017, saying that a Jewish children's advocacy group says Aliyah being used by child sex offenders. Aliyah is the immigration to Israel, what Israel publishes as propaganda for people to come and live inside of Israel. There were also other reports in a newspaper like Haaretz and in other news outlets as well. Haaretz said Israel becoming a refuge for pedophiles several years back. Again, that was in 2016. There was another report coming from The Independent, and that's also from 2016, saying that Israel's becoming a safe haven for pedophiles with laws that allow any Jews to legally return. These were claims also from activists inside of Israel. CBS reported as well before that on how Jewish American pedophiles hide from justice inside of Israel. They had a report back again in 2020 talking about this, and this is all connected to one man as well. Well, not this specific case, but it leads us to one man, really. All of this leads us to a man who is the biggest child trafficker, well, the most popular of them, Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein was the man of the Mossad. He was the man of the Mossad, and he used to boast about how he was connected with the Mossad and how he was a Mossad agent. And this man is known to have had many senior figures from all across the world in his private islands, with victims speaking up against him and against his network several years later. He was blackmailing the people who he used to have with cameras installed everywhere, whether it was in his mansion in Manhattan or the luxury flat in Manhattan and his private island too. What would be more important is that these people are followed up on and brought to justice. In the case of Jeffrey Epstein, his partner, well, we still haven't had the full picture and all of the files and information about this ring, primarily because it spoke about senior figures who are in many cases still in power. Some names have been revealed, but many names haven't been revealed. And again, with this guy in Britain, Ivor, it's not surprising, because in Israel, you're talking about the capital of pedophiles. There was an Israeli soldier who raped a Palestinian detainee, was celebrated in Israeli mainstream media, considered to be a hero, and people in the government were protecting him, and even people in the Israeli public from the population were protecting him and hailing him as a hero for raping Palestinians. There were also religious figures inside of Israel justifying rape and justifying all of these crimes against the Palestinian detainees and others as well. Now, the case of Ivor Kaplan now is in the hands of the police. They confirm that they are carrying out an investigation and that he will remain in custody as long as they have this investigation happening against him.